फिश पकोड़ा, चिकन पकोड़ा, चरगा स्टीम चिकन, लेम और वेजिटेबल समोसा, बिरयानी, पिज्जा, फलूदा, जलेबी, गुलाब जामुन, समोसा चाट, फ्रेश चिकन और लेम हांडी, लाहौरी चना और बहुत कुछ। ये सब अब आपको मिले सिर्फ और सिर्फ देसी रेस्टोरेंट में। आज की स्पेशल ऑफर, निहारी और पाए एक नान और रोटी के साथ सिर्फ 6 पाउंड में। स्पेशल लंच टाइम ऑफर दिन 12 से 4 बजे तक। चिकन और लेम कड़ी 2 रोटी के साथ सिर्फ 6 पाउंड में। मिक्स वेजिटेबल कड़ी और तड़का दाल 2 रोटी के साथ 5 पाउंड में। तो ऑर्डर करें अभी देसी रेस्टोरेंट online.com पर और ऑनलाइन पेमेंट करें बिल्कुल सेफली और कॉल कर सकते हैं 01733555795। हमारे पास डिलीवरी भी मौजूद है और 10% डिस्काउंट के साथ आप खुद कलेक्ट भी कर सकते हैं। 298 लिंकन रोड, पीटरब्रा, PE1 2ND। देसी रेस्टोरेंट, आपका अपना पसंदीदा और मयारी खाने अब पीटरब्रा में।
Assalamu alaikum. Now we are going to play a part of Tafsir.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Salaam Radio here on Salaam Sports 106.2 FM. Lovely to be back with you. Lovely to be back in the hot seat, which was very, very adequately kept warm for me by Sadat Akram, who's away for today's show. But I am back and I'm pleased to be back. Very, very nice to be here with my co-presenter Arif Aziz. And also a very welcome guest today, Hamad Javid. Hamad, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Arif, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
How you boys doing?
Yeah, just Sadat. I think he got upset because you've basically come back and taken his hot seat.
Is it his hot seat? Oh, I'm so sorry, Sadat. You're always welcome to take this seat whenever you want.
Yeah.
No, I think he'd made other plans, didn't he? So we've had a really packed schedule of shows throughout the whole of month of Ramadan. And I think we had to cancel one of our shows because of a charity fundraiser at the beginning of Ramadan. And we thought there was going to be a charity fundraiser today, seeing as this is the last Sunday of Ramadan. But that's been rescheduled or cancelled altogether. And we're back and we're live. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to our listeners in Luton, Inspire FM 105.1. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, like I said, it's been a while since I've been on the hot seat, so good to be back.
Also, what have you been up to then?
Not a lot, mate. Just been enjoying Ramadan, getting a bit spiritual, taking time with the family, slowing down a little bit. And that's about it.
You got something to share with us? Congratulations on...
Well, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's completely sports unrelated. But yeah, no, I'm the latest addition to the Peterborough Council Chamber, so very pleased with
I don't know what to call you now. I don't know. Should I sit here? Should I call you Image? Should I call you Coach? Should I call you Councillor? What is it?
Just call me Coach, bro. Okay. Coach is good. I'll call you Mr. Chairman. You can call me Coach. So, Hamad, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be talking, and we'd love to get you insights on the big fight last night, Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joel Saunders. Big fight. I mean, I caught a bit of that, but you can talk to us a little bit in a bit more detail about what the fight meant. I mean, there was, Billy Joel was unbeaten, wasn't he? And Canelo Alvarez considered to be the best boxer in current boxing. So we'll talk a little bit about that. What else? We've got the Grand Prix.
Got Formula One
currently ongoing. That's the Spanish Grand Prix.
Got a little bit of cricket as well. Pakistan are playing Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. So yeah, maybe Sadat, if he's available, he could text in and give us some live updates and tell us how he thinks that's going. And then the big thing, which I do want to talk about in the first part of the show before we go into the football section, is the match postponement last week. Manchester United and Liverpool. Big game. I mean, that's a huge disappointment, isn't it, to football fans worldwide?
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to it.
Definitely, as a United supporter as well, we're hoping to give Liverpool a beating again, especially when United have been on form and really just kind of cement that position in second place. And make sure Liverpool stay out top four. So
Yeah, absolutely.
It was the right stage as well.
You're supposed to be neutral, Sadat.
See, he says that so often to Sadat that he's saying to you, you're supposed to be neutral, Sadat. But no, you're absolutely right. I think Liverpool fans were probably looking forward to a bit of a hiding.
Yeah.
We've not been in the best of form.
Yeah, I think I was bracing myself.
It's
So
just important
it's a
of
good
the game
thing.
towards end of the season, and as obviously as a result now, it's a bit of a fixture pilot now for United and Liverpool as well. So it doesn't help anyone. But it was really the case of just trying to get the match done, seeing where everyone's sit, and now the postponements happen, and it's not really helped anyone.
Has it made a difference with what happened in terms of any statements come out from Manchester United in terms of what the future holds?
I don't think they've really commented much, have they, apart from a half-hearted apology. But in terms of what the protest has done, it's probably shown that they obviously knew there's a bit of resistance around the whole Super League thing, but now they realise that look, things can get out of hand, and you don't really want any more altercations going forward, and especially postponement of matches, because that's not really going to help United, especially.
Do you think, Imtiaz, this is the last we're going to hear about the Super League, or because you've got a few clubs?
No, absolutely not. I mean, we'll talk about it in a little bit more detail when we get onto the football section. But yeah, I think it's a really good question, probably one that we need to consider a little bit later in the show. But let's start with Formula One. So, what a milestone, firstly, by Lewis Hamilton.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
He's got his 100th pole position.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's miles ahead of anybody else.
Michael Schumacher is considered the greatest Formula One driver in history.
Yeah, Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton Senna was sensational, obviously gone before his time. But Michael Schumacher's dominated, got the most titles, or joint most titles now with Lewis Hamilton. But I mean, that 100, that's almost like a psychological. You can't beat us, right? He's gone so far ahead at getting 100.
Yeah, is that going to be beaten? That's a good question.
And of the current drivers, I don't think anybody's anywhere in the top 5, are they?
No,
you've got
chance.
Schumacher at 68.
Yeah.
If there are any current drivers,
I think you're right. Yeah. There's nobody probably in the top 10,
because he's got the last 100 from the last 150, doesn't he? So,
absolutely.
So nobody who's currently driving is getting the poles, because Hamilton's getting all the poles. But do you know the latest in the race? What's currently going on?
Yeah, the latest in the race is Hamilton obviously was in pole position.
Yeah.
And I think it's Verstappen who overtook him at the first
corner.
First corner.
Yeah.
And he's actually winning the race at the moment.
But he had a bit of a poor pit stop. Verstappen.
I've not.
Just as I was coming out, I saw he had a bit of a poor pit stop. So it looks like Lewis Hamilton might be in with a shout of catching up, making a bit more ground. But yeah, I mean, do you think he needs to win this one and then hang his driving gloves up? Is that what they say?
Do you know what?
Gloves up?
I don't think he will.
Yeah.
I think he's going to carry on.
Okay.
I don't think he's gonna give up. I think he's gonna try to go for as many. Look, the debate right now is he the greatest? Would you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I do kind of follow Formula One. I'm not a massive fan of Formula One, but I think, when you talk about the greatest, it's always like if you took up football, for example, you've got Pele apparently scored 1,400 or 1,200 goals in his professional career. Apparently, some of them in friendlies, who knows, whatever. Yeah, but it's like it was a long time ago. But if you look at it now, if you look at the number of goals that Messi scored in his career or Cristiano Ronaldo scored in his career, that's pure goals for goals. And you could potentially compare that, but then you got to look at the level of your opposition. How Pele dominated in his time, or how Maradona dominated his time, versus how, absolutely Messi and Ronaldo are dominating in their time. That's kind of what you've got to look at. And did Schumacher dominate in his time? Absolutely.
Yeah.
We had some great drivers from Great Britain
we did.
that didn't get the championships that they were coveted because Schumacher was just too good. Right now, you've got some amazing drivers all around the world driving for multiple teams who aren't getting anywhere near it because Hamilton is too good. So, is he the greatest of his time? Yes. Is he the greatest ever? I don't think we'll know.
Yeah, that is debatable again. And I think we've had this discussion when it comes to football as well. It depends on what era is somebody's part of.
Yeah.
And I think United fans seem to think that the greatest team ever is United. They forget football was invented more than 30 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a message in from Mohammed Kadir saying, "MashaAllah." Either that's mashallah on us being in the studio presenting the show, or mashallah on Lewis Hamilton taking 100th pole position. I'm not sure.
I think you're selling yourself short. I think it's
Yeah.
mashallah because maybe you're in the studio after such a long
Maybe,
time.
could be. And Bilal Javid is also giving us bare love by shouting Tuchel. It's like, okay, we'll talk about Tuchel in the second half of the show. Thanks,
Okay.
you've jumped the gun a bit, Bilal. We'd love to get your comments in around the boxing. Obviously, I'm sure you watched the fight as well. Let us know what you thought. We'll come on to that in a little while. But just to finish off on that, I mean, Ahmad, I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on genuine question? This is not a loaded question, but the British media's portrayal of Lewis Hamilton. And imagine it wasn't Lewis Hamilton with these poles and these Grand Prix wins. Imagine it was Damon Hill or Nigel Mansell. Do you think we'd be showing him a lot more love?
Yeah, I mean, I raised an interesting point earlier, and I kind of see that with the boxing side of things, and especially football as well. So, again, don't know how controversial it is, but I find a lot of the ethnic or the black players, or again, whether it's the boxers or footballers, any athletes that you get, you kind of feel they get hard done by, and they don't get the limelight like they should deserve. Especially when it comes to, for example, talk more from experience from boxing side of things. You get a white heavyweight boxer who's on top of his game, he will be promoted throughout nothing.
Unbelievable.
You look at people like Ricky Hatton, for example. Compared to what he achieved and compared to other boxers that are out there, he was a mega star. And you just have to look at it. You think it is because he's white.
Wait, did you feel that? Let's talk about when Vladimir Klitschko was heavyweight champion of the world, probably the first white heavyweight champion of the world for a number of years. Probably the last one we've seen, right? You tend to get heavyweight champions of the world that tend to be black, and that's more a case of where they're brought up, where they're raised, and the fact that they find the gym at an early age and so on. But Arif, did you not feel like even the British media was giving Klitschko a lot of love? I feel like the British media hyped
I mean,
Klitschko.
especially if you're British as well. So I'm talking about from a British perspective. You find it with the football players as well. I don't know. So someone
So with football, look at Raheem Sterling versus Phil Foden.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah, we had. I think there was a debate. I think was it Ian Wright or somebody he was doing a debate last week, or he had a discussion on that. And I think my feelings are, how far do we go? The whole system is institutionally racist.
You think so?
I think it is, and I think the problem is there's a lack of understanding, and there's always been a lack of understanding.
Is it because the people in the media just identify with people better than others? They find it hard to identify with the Sterlings of the world. They're easier to identify with Foden, or easier to identify with. Let me say, I mean, Joshua versus Klitschko. Joshka's one of our own. Raised in London, right? He's Watford, or he's one of ours. Klitschko, I don't know what his background is or his history is, but I felt like the media identified with this. I made a big deal of this. Do you remember when we had the Olympics and I was talking about Mo Farah?
You did,
His name's Muhammad, right? And he's a Muslim, and he's black, and he's, his origins are Africa. His parents are from Africa and whatsoever. He's a British citizen. He's running for Team GB. He wins the double, like the gold in the 5 and the 10K, 2 separate Olympics. He's our version of Usain Bolt.
He wasn't.
He is, isn't he? Yeah, no. He's our version of Usain Bolt. He's
Absolutely.
Like, we've never ever done that. We never ever will do that. We did it under him, and it's kind of like, spearing him with potential drugs allegations, and his coach Salazar started talking about him. So I do bring it up, and I'm sorry if our listeners think it's a bit more same old.
I think it's a testament to this radio show that we're
above that.
No, we bring this up regularly because I think we bring it up, and I'm a staunch supporter of who advocates this as well. And I think the more we talk about it, and a lot of our shows have always got 5 or 10 minutes in there about racism. It doesn't matter wherever sport is.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, of course. And we're highlighting this, and you're right. Raheem Sterling is another one.
I remember Rashford as well. I think he spent some money or something. He bought a house for his mum, and he spent a lot of money on the actual interior, and they were just saying things about it.
All over the papers.
I'm sure it was with Mason Greenwood, and I'm sure it was Foden with him, and they reached.
No, I think it was Foden, and it was Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling bought a house I think for his mum, not decorate a house for his
Yeah.
mum or something, and Foden bought a house for his mum, similar sort of cost
Yeah.
or whatever it was, and one actually got absolutely
Yeah, you're
ostracized.
right. I think Hamad's talking about the time where they broke protocol with the England team.
Yeah.
And Greenwood and Foden both
Green
were
and Foden,
out.
so Greenwood got hammered. And again, they're talking about whether United should suspend him or,
Whether he should ever be brought back in for England.
Yeah, exactly. And Foden, it never heard nothing about him.
Yeah,
in the media.
absolutely. Okay, let's move on because we've taken up a bit of time, worthwhile time, always. But let's talk about the fight. So, Bilal Javid saying Canelo all the way, pound for pound king. I think he's a Canelo fan. Tell us a little bit about the fight. And just before you do, actually,
Yeah.
Ahmad, I was just saying before the start of the show, what is it with all these ring entrances and national anthems and flags being projected onto big screens? And it's like, that's not boxing. That's never been boxing.
We're in the
Surely,
entertainment industry,
we've
that's what it
always,
is.
yeah, well, we've always had the big ring
Yeah.
walk, and I think that's part of boxing. But
Yeah.
national anthems, a traditional Mexican band performing live for the ring walk. What are your thoughts on that?
To be honest, I don't think nothing bad of it.
Okay.
Neck at all. It's just entertainment. So obviously you get it with the WWE and you get it with I don't know a bit of UFC now with McGregor and Habib's got a bit of hype about him. So it's just a case of just providing that extra bit of entertainment.
Okay.
There's so many people who are tuned in, paying their hard-earned money, pay-per-view. So it's like right, you're expecting a fight. So let's.
It's a show,
That's the
isn't
other
it?
bit,
At the end of the day.
Yeah, maybe for me it was because it was so late,
Yeah.
or rather so early in
You're
the
like, get on
morning.
with it.
Then I was like, I need to get to sleep. Just get on with it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just
Yeah.
sleep in.
You expect it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it was nothing negative. It's just a case of right. Let's just get everyone fired up for it. Let's just, especially you got a large Mexican crowd there as well. They want to hear the national anthem. They want to see a bit of a dance, bit of a show.
I have to give you that. The crowd loved
Yeah,
it. The crowd
yeah.
absolutely loved
70
it.
odd thousand as well.
And
Yeah,
they
you-
paid. I mean, who knows? They paid $150, $200
Yeah.
for the ticket. It was in Dallas, wasn't
Dallas,
it?
yeah,
Dallas,
Dallas.
Texas. And that's quite close. I mean, geographically to Mexico.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of Mexican fans in there. A few British flags though. Few British flags.
Yeah, it took a bit of
The ring walk for okay. There's another thing that was interesting. It was kind of going into the realms of politics rather than sport. But Billy Joe Saunders, he's from the traveller community.
Yeah.
Usually ostracised by people in the British.
Yeah.
Of course,
You know,
yeah.
by us, by us Brits, they're a little bit. They are hard to buy. But then his ring walk had Winston Churchill, which is the most patriotic thing you can have,
Yeah.
right? So I just found that a little bit odd. But he's a traveller community.
He is, yeah.
Tyson
yeah.
Fury's doing his
I
camp.
think they
Tell
just
me a little bit about his background.
Yeah, so again, they're both Romany Gypsy traveller community. So
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to highlight a bit more of the issues that look we matter as well. So when this whole thing about the Black Lives Matter was happening, again, there was a bit of a small community was saying, look, traveller lives matter as well because they do get ostracised a lot
Of course they do,
in
yeah,
England. And again, what we're talking about with the black players is similar with the traveller community. Again, you look at Tyson Fury compared to Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua, born and bred here, fine. He's obviously black, but again, how they put him on a pedestal
Yeah.
compared to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury he doesn't get the same limelight.
Oh,
and you're talking
this
about
is
same
interesting. So
with the
before
Billy
we
Joe
were talking
Saunders.
about race,
Yeah,
but now we're talking about actually here's a section of the community that's marginalised,
Yeah.
and they're probably pushed back even below
Definitely.
the Black Asian community.
yeah. Again, you look
Wow,
at
yeah,
you
that's a
look
good
at Billy
point, very good
Joe,
point.
undefeated, 31 bouts. 2-time world champion, 2 different weights. He'll be celebrating.
Yeah,
something like
I
that.
think,
But again,
Yeah.
he comes out with he'll say some stupid comments on Instagram, and he'll get in a bit of a hot bother. He'll get suspended, but again, he gets a lot of heat.
Okay.
And you do sometimes think, look at the background.
But tell me a little bit about him. So you said two-time
Yeah.
world champion. Was he 30-0 before last
Yeah,
night?
31 and 0. He comes
31
from
and 0.
he was a middleweight champion. He
Yeah.
moved up to super middleweight, and again became a world champion then as well. Fighting against Canelo, pound for pound number 1. His
Yeah.
only defeat came against Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather,
But
probably the
with-
greatest boxer ever.
Yeah,
Probably.
but again, that was a long time ago when he was only 22. And so again, Canelo's come on strong. He's won world titles all the way up to light heavyweight, settling that back down as super middleweight. He already had a couple of world titles, wanting to fight Billy Joe, who's a world champion.
Yeah.
And, he's got 3 belts now hoping to fight the IBF champion to become the undisputed super middleweight. So
Which would put him
it
down
was-
basically boxing's Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I
absolutely.
mean, it was a tall, it's a tall order for someone like Billy Joe to fight Canelo.
Who's
but
the
again,
IBF champion, did you say, sorry?
Caleb Plant.
Caleb.
Yeah. So he's an American, which he's going to be targeted next by Canelo. But again, the whole thing about Billy Joe
That's
fighting.
going to be a huge fight.
Yeah. But,
Mexico versus America, right? That's
yeah.
going to be
But
massive.
again, someone like Caleb, he doesn't carry that kind of limelight compared to For example, someone like Billy Joe coming from Britain. But the good thing, I mean, what was hyped about the whole thing, and again, in terms of what was in Billy Joe's favour, was they actually gave Billy Joe a half-decent chance. Basically, because the kind of fights that Canelo has been in, and he's been in trouble with, was obviously the loss against Floyd Mayweather. He also fought Lara, who gave Canelo a lot of trouble. And some people out there thought Lara actually nicked it. So it was a case of, he's fighting an actual pure boxer, and the fact that Billy Joe's a southpaw as well, which would cause him problems. So the media were kind of 100% divided down the line, but the ones that supporting Billy Joe, they actually felt quite positive that, he's going to cause him a lot of trouble. It wasn't a case of just going there for a paycheck and getting beaten 5-6 rounds, or even getting stopped in 8 rounds, but they would actually generally think that Billy Joe would cause him problems.
Sure.
And if we're talking about the fight now as well.
We're going to talk about the fight. I mean, Bilal's texting. He said the only way Billy J. Saunders was going to win was by fighting on the outside and boxing his way to 12 rounds. I got that. I got that a little bit from the commentary as well, and certainly how the first few rounds were panning out. He said he did well in 3 of the rounds, but Canelo's a very hard puncher. It was only a matter of time that he was going to stop BJ.
So again, Canelo's a short, powerful boxer, and to do that for 12 rounds, it's a hard task. Trying to keep someone like that away. He was just cutting short the ring. He was just shortening down the ring, and just cutting him off at the right time, landing those shots in. And to do that over 12 rounds is hard. It takes legs away.
I'm going to expose my ignorance to boxing now and tell you that the last Muscle Canelo fight was against Amir Khan. And pretty much, I guess, all of us in that same boat. And all of us armchair fans. I think, did you watch the Amir Khan Canelo fight?
Yeah. I can't remember it though.
But what I do remember is Amir Khan dominated him. As a pure boxer, he dominated him. He's just, every time Amir Khan was landing good shots, he was just brushing him off because he was so strong, because he was a bit heavier. And it was only a matter of time before one of Canelo's shots landed. And even in the first few rounds, again, with Billy Joe, it looked like Canelo was probably just biding his time, waiting for that time where he had the opportunity. So doing for 12 rounds something against a boxer of his strength was a tall order, right?
Again, people were looking at the Khan fight and thinking, hang on a minute, Khan caused Canelo a bit of trouble.
He did.
From the boxing aspect. But Khan was jumping up 2 weights. And again, you can do stuff like that for 5-6 rounds. Then
you're going to be faster if you're lighter. You're going to but
you can do that for a certain period because you're fresh. You've got that bit of kind of buzz, that bit of adrenaline in you. You can do it. After 5-6 rounds, when you start tiring a little bit and he starts catching on to you, that's why that knockout happened. It was just a matter of time before he sort of imposed himself onto Khan. But people were getting kind of like a positive hopes from the fact that he can be outboxed. But again, it's one thing to say it, one thing to do it, and actually carry on for the whole 12 rounds. And you could see in the fight yesterday that Canelo was actually getting stronger as well
as he was going on.
So the way I saw it was, Billy Joe had the first couple of good rounds, especially the first round. He came out fast. He came out, being elusive. Had the better of Canelo, but then Canelo got back into it straight away. He started landing his own shots, but Canelo was landing the more hurtful shots. A lot of them were single punches straight to the body.
He didn't hold back. He didn't hold back, and I think Billy Joe was probably a little bit more careful when he went in. But Billy Joe is a counter puncher as well, right? He's known as a counter puncher.
He's
so it's difficult for him to try and go in there with the jab, stay on the outside, pick up a few points on the judges' scorecards. It was a difficult
game plan. Was always for Billy was not just to run for 12 rounds because you can't. You got to kind of earn your respect and actually hurt Canelo, which that's what you have to do. You have to push him back a little bit. So Billy Joe did well. Again, Canelo, second, third, fourth round, he actually imposed himself a lot better. There's a whole thing of the head can move, but the body doesn't. So although Billy Joe is elusive with his head, he was doing a lot of body shots and catching Billy to kind of slow him down, but he knows the shot's going to land. And
smart fighters, right?
Again, it's all tactics. And every time Billy put his head down, he'd come in with a jab with Canelo and actually catch him with the uppercut. So every time he comes down, he'd meet with an uppercut.
The body attack, that started from round 1. Canelo didn't even go for the head. He literally went for the body from
because his head would be elusive. He'd be moving. His feet were moving. So you slow him down, catch him with the body. Then once...
It's interesting stuff, isn't it?
Very interesting.
This is not the kind of... I wouldn't have seen that. I wouldn't have seen that. I was thinking... I did notice that, but I didn't think it was a strategy. You're right. If you're putting power punches, you don't want him wasted. And if you hit a power punch, miss a head, topple your balance, get caught with the jab, judges put a little point on the other guy's scorecard, and you're going to be behind after 3-4 rounds. So
very technical though.
But I tell you what, Billy
we just thought they were silly, thick
I thought they just hit each other and that's it.
Punches.
Whoever's.
But no, Billy did really well in the middle rounds. He had a couple of rounds success. I basically felt he won about 3 rounds
We've had a
in
few more
total.
comments in, Ahmad. We've had Bilal again saying Canelo was, this is about the Amir Khan.
Yeah.
Canelo was nearly 2 stones heavier than Amir Khan. I didn't realise that. I thought it was less than that. 2 stones
That
is
was
huge. Wow.
initially with the weight. He put 2 stones up, which is probably around about a stone. But then by the time after you weigh in, you come on the day, you fuel up.
So it's probably a little bit closer.
No, what I'm saying it probably is 2 on the night.
Oh, on the night, so yeah.
So although officially on the weigh-in and stuff,
Oh,
it's not 2 stones.
Yeah.
You're the same weight.
Junaid Khalil goes, really good question actually. When can we expect Hamad to come out of retirement? He's the only person who could give Canelo a run for his money, in my opinion. I think that's a fair challenge, fair question. So now, Hamad, I've seen you fight, man. I mean, you're the guy's a beast, isn't it? You know that.
Was.
You know that, innit?
Past tense.
Past tense, it was. Yeah, he was a beast. As was his brother Bilal. Bilal's another one. Mashallah, we're blessed with 2 very, very talented local boxers.
Absolutely.
Hamad, thanks for all that input. I mean, that's really
Yeah,
good.
they've given
So,
us fantastic insight into.
really, I feel like I know boxing better. I feel like going for a punch bag round now. Should we do it? So 8th round knockout. Knockout, technical knockout.
Yeah, so basically I was saying Billy Joe was doing well, and then everything just turned on that 8th round where Canelo caught Billy with a beautiful shot. He came down and caught him with the uppercut and literally just bust his eye socket out.
Oh, okay.
And for that last minute, Billy Joe was struggling, and Canelo really put
Was
on
this
him.
about, BJS being a little bit hypocritical, saying, oh, Canelo should have fought on when he didn't fight, or whatever it was? Yeah, what was it?
So the whole thing at the moment is where some people are, well, half and half. Some are actually more sympathetic to Billy Joe, saying, right, he hurt himself. He knew what was up in the corner. He knew he couldn't carry on because his eye was that badly damaged.
Yeah.
Only he knows. It felt like his eyes closed a little, but people actually wanted him to carry on and go out in his shield. So half and half is people thinking, right, they have to look after themselves, and it's all about Billy Joe's health. The corner saw that the fact he couldn't carry on, or if he was, the inevitable was going to happen, and he wasn't getting knocked out because he's fighting with one eye.
Not just knocked out, but even more seriously injured.
Even more serious, especially with his eye. And but yeah, again, the whole thing going on at the moment is you see these memes going around on the internet. Is roughly around about a year ago, Daniel Dubois, it was a British heavyweight title fight against European Championship fight against Joy Joyce, and. Again, that scenario was he actually closed up Daniel's eye.
Yeah.
But Daniel fought on for another 1-2 rounds. And
then Billy Joe was ripping out of him, saying, oh, is that what you did?
Yeah.
I'm a traveller. I'd have gone to the end, all this.
I'll go out must do. This is a cop-out, You actually just took the easy way out and didn't want to take a beating, and it's going to be a long wait before you come back and fight at that standard. So what happened, he did exactly the same thing, and now he's just getting...
Yeah, okay. All right, cool. Thanks for that, Ahmad. Thank you, guys, for joining into the first half of the show. We'll be back after a few short messages from our sponsors, and we'll be talking football after this break. So do join us again in about 4 minutes. Speak to you soon.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
Now we're gradually coming out of lockdown. We can meet up outside in groups of up to 6 or 2 households. Have friends round for a drink in the garden. There you are, doing your bit, keeping a safe distance. When it starts to get dark and a little chilly, and suddenly your lounge looks very warm and inviting. But don't forget, you're much safer in the fresh air because COVID-19 particles are blown away. Let's take this next step safely. Remember, hands, face, space and fresh air.
हाँ बिलाल, मैं हमारी ग्रोसरी और हलाल मीट के लिए मुख्तलिफ स्टोर्स पर जाते जाते थक चुकी हूँ। पार्किंग हमेशा से एक मसला रहा है और मुझे आखिरी बार एक पार्किंग टिकट भी मिला है।
कितनी बार बता चुका हूँ, पीटरब्रो में 232 लिंकन रोड पर पाक फूड्स को ट्राई करो। ये कैम्ब्रिजशायर में सबसे बड़ी एथनिक सुपरमार्केट है और उनके पास फ्री कस्टमर कार पार्क भी है।
Wow, really?
Yes, and they have got a huge range of Ramadan offers on now until 16th May.
लेकिन क्या मैं वहाँ से सब कुछ खरीद सकती हूँ?
Yes, fresh quality fruit, vegetables, dairy product, halal meat and poultry delivered every day. It really is a one-stop shop. Plus, Pak Foods carry a huge range of brands from around the world and thousands of products in their daily use household range.
मैं अभी जाना चाहती हूँ। वो कब तक खुलते हैं?
Monday to Saturday, 8:30 to 7:30 p.m. and 11 to 5 p.m. on Sundays. और ये बहुत ही साफ सुथरी और महफूज जगह है जहाँ पर कोविड के हवाले से तमाम हिफाजती इक़दामात को मद्देनजर रखा जाता है। तो फिर चलें, शाजिया।
Park Foods wishes all of our customers and community Ramadan Mubarak. Come and see the difference. Desi restaurant is open, so why not order now for your family meal tonight? We've got fish pakora, chicken pakora, jarga steamed chicken, lamb and vegetable samosas, biryani, pizza, faluda, jalebi, gulab jamun, samosa chaat, fresh chicken and lamb handi, lahori channa and much more. We've got it all at Desi Restaurant. Special offer, Niari Opaya with 1 naan or roti only £6. Special lunchtime offer from noon to 4 p.m. Chicken or lamb curry and 2 roti only £6. Mixed veg curry or tarka dal and 2 roti only £5. Order now at desirestaurantonline.com and pay online safely, or call us on 01733 555 795. Delivery available, or you can collect for a 10% discount. 298 Lincoln Road, Peterborough, PE1 2ND. Desi Restaurant, the trusted family favourite in Peterborough.
Awarded the UK's Best Muslim Charity of the Year, Muslim Global Relief, bringing hope to life for 20 years in over 40 countries around the world. Every water pump you helped to install, every needy person you helped to feed, every orphan child that you sent to school has a powerful impact on people's lives. Let us continue to make change. Make a 100% zakat donation today. Visit muslimglobalrelief.org.
You're listening to Inspire FM. We are now going to play a lecture by Dr. Hisham Al-Awadi.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Salaam Sports here on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. Thank you so much for joining us again. Thank you so much to our Luton listeners for joining us again after the short break. Inspire FM 105.1, thank you so much for joining us. I should have said this at the top end of the show, but I'll say it now. You can call into the studio if you want to have your say on anything that we're talking about. The phone number is 01733 602 133. That's 01733 602 133. You can also text in with your comments or your questions. 07411191062 is the number for that. And as always, we are Facebook Live, so do get in touch via Facebook Live. Speaking of Facebook Live, we've had another comment in. Star Abdul has said, Assalamu alaikum, boys. Great show so far, as always. So thank you so much for your comment, Star. Let's get cracking then. Second half of the show. We're talking football. Lots and lots going on. Do you know what? It's a really exciting end of the season in the football calendar this time. More so than previous years. I mean, obviously, as Liverpool fans, we've got less to celebrate. We're not going to win anything this year. It's unfortunate after claiming that we're going to dominate English football for the next 20 years under Klopp. It's been a disappointing year. But if you look at the Europa League final, that's going to be a tasty game, an interesting game. Yeah. So that will take your views on that. Obviously, Manchester United versus. Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's good. It's exciting. United actually playing in a final, so.
He's got to get that in there because they usually fall at the semi-final hurdle.
Yeah,
right?
They fall at the semi-final. I mean, they're playing the lesser of the two cups, but they think they're back, they are back.
But they are being managed by a PE teacher, though, who's got them up to second place. And
he's done well. He's done extremely well.
Hands up.
He's done well.
I mean, just considering our fortune of the last few seasons, something like getting in just to a Europa League final is a big thing.
Didn't Mourinho win the Europa League final?
Yeah. So since then, I'd say no major final since then. But again, if we
that wasn't long ago, though. That was what, 3 seasons?
Yeah, was it?
When was the last time?
3 or 4 seasons ago. Yeah.
It's not like it's not like 12 years.
Yeah, but again, we want to be in Champions League. But again, you get to somewhere like Europa, you win that. It just creates a buzz.
Did you hear that? He said we want to be in Champions League, just like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says it after an interview. Did you hear that? The accent was like we want to be in Champions League.
They've been listening to their Messiah. He's been telling them what to say.
Champions League final, all English affair. Yeah. Gotta love it. It'll be good for us because obviously we're familiar with English football a lot more than we are with non-English football. But Chelsea City, so that's going to be really interesting because Chelsea have beaten City twice in the last 5 City matches. They've played them twice and lost twice. So they're not going to be looking forward to the Champions League. It looks like Thomas Tuchel's got Guardiola's number, right?
We were saying how well he's gotten playing. He's same players that Lampard had. Lampard was struggling. Tuchel's come in and literally just straight away he's just.
Well, I want to pick up on that point straight away. Like you said, Lampard, and this is something I was thinking as well. Like. Again, we give our young British managers, British managers, an opportunity at the very top level, very early on in their careers. Steven Gerrard's gone to the best team in Scotland, was probably the second best team at the time, now the best team in Scotland, just because he was a well-known player in the Premier League. Lampard, well-known player in the Premier League, has gone straight in at Chelsea. Arteta went straight in at Arsenal. But where are
Scott Parker go straight into Fulham?
Scott Parker went straight into Fulham. Now Ryan Mason is the head coach manager at Tottenham, and he's been supported by 2 senior coaches who are both black, and they're his assistants. And it's like, what are you? What is going on? Like,
where you come from?
Where have you come from? Like, who are you? And the reason why that stinks, and I'll tell you why it stinks, is because you take Lampard out. And you bring in Thomas Tuchel, a proven manager who's known for his tactical nous, his ability to get the best out of players, understands the system, understands opponents, understands strategy, structure, how to run a football club and a football team. He comes and takes the same, like you say, same group of players that were giving some success to Lampard, and he's made them into potentially, you could argue the best team in England right now.
Yeah, you could agree with that.
Yeah. So it just the argument. Or rather, the decisions that these clubs have made is preposterous, isn't it? You're talking about organisations that are spending hundreds of millions of pounds in transfer fees and paying millions and millions of pounds a week just in players' wages and it's a multi-million.
They're taking a gamble on these inexperienced managers.
Taking a gamble on these inexperienced managers. Why would they do it? Why would they do it?
I don't know. I mean, going back
that's your contribution.
Going,
I don't know.
Going back to the point that you were making about, is it Ryan Mason?
Ryan Mason. Yeah.
Ryan Mason.
It is Ryan Mason, isn't it?
Yeah,
something Mason. I'm sure it's Ryan Mason.
I mean that was quite disappointing in terms of Tottenham. What I'd have expected
before a cup final, get rid of Mourinho.
Well, no, I think getting rid of Mourinho wasn't the issue. Bringing him in over the 2, they got Ledley King, who's more experienced.
Yeah,
they didn't give him the chance. That is over.
It's almost like they want the right face. To fit in.
Yeah, and the whole Mourinho saga as well. Like they got rid of him before the cup final.
Yeah.
If they didn't, I would not put it. I'd never put it past Mourinho.
They could have won it.
In any one game to win it, I would never put it past him. The guy, I don't care what people say, he's gone to Roma now. I'm sorry, this guy doesn't matter what the British media say, this guy knows how to manage teams.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say.
I don't think
he might not bring young players through. I didn't like him at United because I thought he might be good for United. I still think United were more likely to win a Premier League under Mourinho than they are under Solskjaer. I still believe that. I don't know what your views are on that.
Yeah. Solskjaer still got a lot to do in terms of giving you the hope that we're actually going to win a Premier League with him in charge.
Have you got the confidence with him up there to win the Premiership? That's the question.
But in your mind, can you see Solskjaer lifting the Premier League trophy? Because
I'm sure he's dreamt of it as well.
No, he's probably dreamt of it, but he can't really visualise it. But you could visualise. You could visualise Mourinho.
Yeah, because he's done it. He's proven.
Yeah.
He's proven. He's done it. But Solskjaer hasn't. So I don't know. Maybe if we bring in a couple of world-class players, then you'd have a bit more confidence in him. But then sometimes,
how many more world-class players do they want?
Yeah,
you've literally had every world-class player under the sun.
But yeah,
I think with United, they're back. They're actually back. They just need a couple more players, more world-class players.
But
that is going to change their team.
And a world-class
Look, you've got Thomas. Is it Tuchel?
Tuchel, yeah.
Tuchel, who's come in with the same number of players or the same players that Lampard's had. And he's absolutely. I think had it been beginning of the season, he'd come in.
He's revolutionised the team. Yeah, there's no two ways about it.
So, in terms of experience, I don't think Ole's there, or you guys respect him enough.
Well, Jamil Iqbal said, "Assalamu alaikum, boys." Sully's made a few comments. Sully's come on board. He's saying Chelsea will win the UEFA Champions League, in my opinion. Do you know what? I probably agree with him.
They beat him yesterday, didn't they?
Because I'll tell you why. Because Liverpool were on for the treble last year, and they were on for a perfect season as well one day, an unbeaten season as well for a period. But then once the treble went, the unbeaten season went, and it was almost kind of like we just stuttered over the line with the Premier. We had such a gap, so we were obviously going to do it, but we kind of stuttered over the line, and it just went flat. And City have had that expectation from September, October, November of doing the quadruple, and since the quadruple's gone, all of a sudden they've just started to falter. So now they win Premier League. Yeah, that's in the bag. Of course it is. Yeah, but I would not be surprised if they miss out on that, because Chelsea were never expected to win the Champions League. Now they're in the final and they were on a high, and they've got the manager, they've got the players buzzing, they've got a system, they know what works. I'll probably agree with Silly there. He said Kante will be the difference. He's so underrated. I don't think he's underrated.
No,
I don't think he's underrated, but he probably will be the
difference. He's a quiet guy. I mean, no one underrates, but everyone been raving about him for the last.
Well, no, I think there was a rumor that Lampard wanted to get rid of him. I think even the new manager Tuchel hasn't played him enough. I think in the last few weeks he's got him back in, and he's now seeing what Kante can do. But
do you know what? It reminds me of, and I know he plays the Makelele role. Everybody knows that's the new role. But it reminds me of Real Madrid. When I first started watching Spanish football, Real Madrid, they had the Galacticos. Yeah, they had the likes of Zidane and Figo and Ronaldo, and they'd sign the best player in the world that wasn't playing for their team. They'd sign him every year. They brought in 5 or 6 players over 5 or 6 years. But it was like Makelele at the time was like, we're wasting a spot because we could have a really good flair player in that spot, and it's like a waste. We've got Figo, we've got Zidane, we've got Makelele. What are we doing, right? And they let him go, and then they saw how the house just fell apart, right? And that's why the Makelele role became creative. It's like you can have all the flair in the world, but if you don't have somebody,
if you don't have somebody who's going to do that doggies,
and at FC Peterborough as well, I've always said, we need somebody there. Like we've had Zoib, people like Zoib, yeah. We need somebody in that position who's always he's not going to be the prettiest player, but he's going to be in the right position, do the right thing. Just, a little bit smart there. So Kante, I think Kante is the epitome of that. They've got so much flair right now. They've got, so many players that have come in, new signings, playing really, really good. Apart from Timo Werner, I think pretty much everyone has had a decent season, I think you can say. But Kante, he's indispensable. He has to be there. He has to keep everybody together.
World class, unbelievable player.
A couple of other comments.
Energy.
Jamil Iqbal says, "Assalamu alaikum, boys." And certainly one more comment from him. This is probably what you were dreading.
Go on.
United have already won the Premier League, surely. Didn't they win it in September?
Did Liverpool win the quadruple this year?
I think finishing second is the way I've been discussing stuff on our other groups. They've won that is literally like a league win for them.
I mean, you look at us last season, how far we were off from top spot, and to narrow that gap down to where we come now, second spot. What we done? I think 10 points. It's a big achievement.
It's a huge achievement.
So you can have this little banter and have a little fun joke. But again, to us, the main thing was closing that gap. We never thought we were going to win the league this year, but the main thing is let's close that gap. And we seem quite dominant for second, which again is a big step compared to this time last year.
Well, the last year that City won it, Liverpool finished a point behind, and they were on 98 and 99 points or something like that. And there was a massive gap between the top 2 and third place.
Yeah.
The year that we won it, there was a massive gap between us and second place, and second and third and fourth and fifth. They were there is still a massive gap though between first and second. Maybe not as huge. That has been closed, and that's probably because City they've gotten over the line now almost.
The last few games I think they have closed the gap. United have closed a gap, but what they haven't competed. If you looked at the season, especially in the last sort of 3 or 4 months, City have been sort of 10, 12 points, 15 points ahead of us and anybody else. I know they've dropped down. So when we talk about competing, I think the points tally has increased. But nobody's really competed this season apart from City. City's been miles ahead of everybody.
Aslan's got a comment in. Aslan saying Ibi Ali can play that role for FCP.
I think from what I saw him the other day,
I think he needs to have a few more protein shakes, mate.
Absolutely awesome.
Ibi's the Kante of FC Peterborough. Going on to the Champions League final. Do we all think that Chelsea's got? No.
I think the confidence has to be with Chelsea right now. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
But Chelsea, obviously over the course of a season, they're winning, they're picking up points, but then when it comes to a one-off game,
anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
What are your thoughts on the Europa then? Man United, Villarreal.
They got to be favourites, don't they? I mean, they can't. They
have
can't
to be favourites.
They can't let it slip. Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity for them. Even when they, beat Ajax the last time they won it, again, United were favourites back then, and they tripped over the line and beat them 2-0, where they should have, been comfortably ahead.
Yeah.
That was a young Ajax team back then. I remember that. And but now against
when was this? 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, when Mourinho won it, and
okay. You're a young guy then.
Huh? I remember that. But I've seen that last year. But
I mean, the way they dispatched Granada, and Granada, we were like, Granada, who the hell? Granada beat Barcelona.
Exactly.
Yeah, they beat Barcelona.
Just a few weeks up, didn't it? So
exactly. So
it just shows.
It does show you that I don't know if I should say this, but it almost suggests the state of English football is in better.
Yeah, I was to say, you got three out of the 4 finalists. It's English. It just shows how strong the English teams are at the moment, and everyone's just all over the place. You got Real Madrid,
but Spanish teams do love the Europa League.
Yeah,
wasn't it Sevilla won it 3 years back to back or something? Now Villarreal in the final. It's like, but then Sevilla lost to Man United in the final.
Yeah.
So
again, I think United are definitely favourites, and it'll be a massive disappointment.
On his first cup potentially.
I think he needs it.
He needs it.
He needs it to give us the confidence.
I think he's done enough for staying in the role next season. I don't think
I think
the
we
fans
lose.
probably need it a little bit.
Yeah, they won't get rid of him obviously, but I just think we need a trophy to then go into next season with a bit more confidence that actually, you know what,
because if
Ole has won something, we can carry on the momentum.
Because if they do win it, then all those charts are going to come out saying Man United are on, God knows, X amount of trophies, and Liverpool are X -2 or X -3.
Well, they've already started coming out with that. They've already started counting.
United already started counting Charity Shields just to boost the numbers. That's how desperate
Cad loves it.
Yeah, but
brilliant.
The thing with United fans is they seem to think that football was invented 30
Let's
years
move on.
ago.
Let's move on. We'll go back.
Come on.
10 minutes of the show to go. I want to talk about the fans' protest last week at the Man United Liverpool game. So lots and lots of commentary, and I really like what Neville and Carragher have both been saying. And I don't know if it's a little bit of jumping on the bandwagon or not, but I still like what they're saying. What are your thoughts on that, Arif? I mean, like, what do you feel about the fans' right to protest? What do you feel about the game being cancelled? What do you think about the few thugs that ruined it for everyone? What are your thoughts?
I think it's disappointing. I think that the fans got every right to make their voices heard. You're going to get a few fans who going to cause a problem, but I think the overall picture. I think sometimes we're missing the overall picture, and the way I look at it is, look, first of all, UEFA and FIFA are the problem, and they end up taking these clubs who spend £100 million on a player. They want better systems in place for their own clubs, and there's nothing against that, against what they're doing.
Do either of you know what the television rights are worth in the Premier League, the Barclays Premier League?
No.
Yes, I don't know, but I'm sure it's of the order of billions, right? It's probably a 3.5 billion deal with Sky Sports or whatever it is. It's in the order of billions. Now, how much do you think Sky Sports would pay to the Barclays Premier League if the Barclays Premier League didn't have Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Tottenham and Chelsea? If those 6 teams weren't in there. So it's all fine and well. And this is what, I don't sound like a true fan. I'm probably not a true fan. I'm probably just after the entertainment. But maybe I'm one of the people that people are protesting against. Maybe I'm one of those armchair fans that's all about the money and the glitz and the glamour. But, you talk to Everton or Fulham or Watford or whatever it is, Palace, whoever it is, these teams that are saying we want a bigger share of the pie, the television rights pie. How big would that television rights pie be without those 6 teams?
Yeah,
so sure. you can argue, they'll have their fan base. Of course, Everton have more fans that are from Liverpool than Liverpool do. Of course, I'm sure there's teams up and down the country that have got more fans locally than maybe teams like Tottenham and Arsenal because they've got a worldwide fan base. But your local fans are going to pay 10, 15, 20 pounds a ticket, and you're going to pack 30,000 in there. That's the extent you're going to get £600,000 on a match day, right? Or you're going to get £1 million at most. Whereas the billions come from the television rights, and you can only sell the television rights for teams that people want to watch.
Yeah.
The teams who have sold their shirts in Southeast Asia and in Africa and in the Middle East, and those are the teams. That's where the demand is. China and India and so on. So am I just playing devil's advocate, or do I? I mean, what do you think? I don't know.
I think that's the be and all, isn't it? Really, that's the crux.
That's why there's a big issue.
That's the situation.
When I heard the proposals, I thought the way they proposed it, and I'm sure it was the fact that they wanted that as an alternative to the Champions League as opposed to
Yes.
instead of the Premier League.
Yeah, no,
so
very
when
good
I
point.
first heard that, I was like, you know what, it's not a bad idea, because what it does is, at the moment, you just find that they're giving so many teams, the lesser teams, chances in the Champions League that, again, as you said, they're just overworking the players. There's plenty more fixtures there for the top clubs. They're thinking, hang on, we just want to play against the top teams. And again, I felt that if that was in addition to the Premier League, and then why not?
The one thing I've got sympathy for, and this was an ex-player, I can't remember who it was, so apologies, but there was an ex-player on a radio station, and he said, in my whole career, I played one two-legged tie against AC Milan. And that's something that will sit with me forever. Walking out in the San Siro will sit with me forever. And he goes, if I had the opportunity of an ESL back then, he goes, I probably would have gone for it because the money would have been ridiculous, right? He goes, but money is money. What you can never take away from someone is somebody who's going to Derby County, and then they're playing at home, and then they're going away to Forest, and then they're playing at home, and then they're going to a big team like Liverpool, or Tottenham, and they're like, okay, that's a special one, and they're playing at home. And this 1 year they qualify for Europe, and they end up in a group stages, and they've got home and away to AC Milan. That player will swap a shirt with someone like Baresi, someone like Maldini, and it would be like the thing for them. The whole career would be like, forget the Division 1 championships or the leagues we've won, or forget the England caps or whatever. But I played AC Milan once, and I've got this shirt on my wall. So I get that. I've got a lot of sympathy for that.
So they're saying,
but it's not just sentimental.
But I suppose they're saying that is football.
I think
football.
the way these Super League or whatever they've looked at it is, look, football is evolving. And it's evolving in such a situation that, look, the audience is now global. It's not just your local audience, and that's what they're trying to catch. They're trying to catch the 100 million fans out there, as opposed to having the 30,000, just the 30,000 fans in that area.
Even more than 100 million,
I'm just giving you.
Yeah, but the World Cup final had an audience of close to 1 billion, right?
Yeah.
So that's potentially the marketable value of it. I think it's been a really interesting topic. I really want to read this statement out by Bidan. Bidan can't be on the show today. He had other plans. He was watching Manchester United lose to Villa. Have they lost?
They're winning.
United are winning.
2-1. Yeah.
Oh,
I think they've won the game now.
I hate that.
Always go down, and suddenly it's like,
I was having
nowhere.
such a good show, and then you tell me that. That's horrible. That's horrible. Right, I'm going to quickly check the. I'm sure, actually, to be fair, if they were losing, we'd be hearing about it all the way.
84 minutes, 2-1.
So Manchester United have probably gone behind in more games than anyone else in the top half of the table.
That's 10 games now they've been behind, and they've ended up. They're going to end up winning.
Again, this is why we sometimes doubt Ollie, is because you think he'd figure that out by now and do something to prevent these quick goals.
Well, look, if you break it down, I know Liverpool have had a poor season. Yeah, but if you break it down, United have lost only 4 games this year.
That's incredible.
City have lost 4 games this season as well. I think City have lost 5 now with the loss.
You know what that means, isn't it? It means the PE teacher's a draw specialist.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Yeah. But the point is, if they can turn some of
Liverpool lost 3 games in that Benitez season where we nearly won it, but we drew 11. That cost us. So the draws do cost you. Right, I just want to get to this statement from Bidan. We were talking about the protest, the fan protests and whatever. Yeah. So he really wanted to be on the show, but he couldn't. So he said, do read this out if you can. He says, for those saying United fans only protesting because they haven't won a league for 8 years, this is untrue, as the last major protest was in 2010-11, when we were in the period of 5 titles in 7 seasons and 3 Champions League finals, winning 1. Liverpool win 1 league in 30 years, yet have forgiven their owners completely because they think they are currently dominating English football from 7th place. For those saying that United fans have spent $1 billion since the Glazers have come in, so you can't complain. United have been debt-free from 1931 up until 2005. Since then, they've had to pay $1.5 billion for the privilege of being owned by the Glazers. The Glazers borrowed all the money to buy the club and haven't invested a penny of their own money into it. Being $600 million in debt is dangerous and only necessary so that the Glazers can own something they can't really afford. That's a really good point, to be fair. Glazers came in, issued bonds to release capital to actually buy the club. They've not actually invested their own money into it. For those saying that this is the Glazers' business, they can run it how they want, Manchester United is a community asset. It's kind of like what you were saying a little bit earlier. United is a community asset. Not only that, like it or not, a large percentage of the value of TV deal is predicated by Manchester United's huge worldwide fan base and the reach they provide. If Manchester United were to leave the Premier League or break the collective TV deal, which is long-term aim, then the English football pyramid is in danger of collapse. Football fans will only realise this when it's too late. I kind of empathise with that a little bit, but at the same time, I feel like when the Glazers bought in, they bought into the imaging rights and the intellectual property and the intangible. So you can't really argue that's Man United.
Again, people are saying that it's actually the fault of the Premier League for allowing these kind of owners to own these clubs. If you know what the intention is, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
just finally, we've only got a few minutes. Just want to read this last paragraph. He says, for those saying, why don't you boycott and hit the Glazers in the pocket? United fans have been boycotting since 2005. Many gave up their season tickets when the new club FC United of Manchester was formed. However, this hasn't made a difference because for every one local United fan that goes, there's 50 from around the world who are happy to take that season ticket. So thoughts, Arif?
Yeah, I think Bidan has sort of hit on the head with what he's saying. I don't sort of agree with everything what he's saying. I think the fans protest back in 2010. There's no momentum being built up since then. So this right now was an excuse. I think I don't think they've gone out simply because they want the Glazers out. They right now United are struggling at the moment in terms of how they're playing football, and they want to change. And that's typical of United fans.
The match being postponed, do you reckon that's like an acceptable cost for the fans' right to protest? We're cool with that?
No, again, no. Preferably, it would have been a nice, peaceful protest, got the message across, and that's it. Postponing a game and then it just means extra headache for United. Pile up the fixture list and it doesn't help United at all. So I don't know.
I don't think it helps football at all.
By doing it that way,
yeah.
I'm kind of like leaning a little bit more in favour of the fans. Actually, I'm saying if you get a game cancelled, your protest will be noticed. If the game wasn't cancelled, if it was delayed by an hour, didn't really inconvenience anyone, massive, marketing that they get, the advertising revenues from worldwide audience on the TV. It was a televised match as well, wasn't it? Obviously, of course it was. The fact that they managed to disrupt that and annoy so many people, annoy so many sponsors, they've definitely got what they wanted. A few more comments said, good news for you, Hamad. Cavani's made it 3-1. So I'm absolutely gutted. I came into the show, they were 1-0 down. I'm leaving the show, they're going to be 3-1 up. Ruined my day. And Sully just said, don't mention Sevilla. Me and Arif have had a bad experience there, lol. What happened in Sevilla? Do you want to talk about that one time in Sevilla?
Who's that, Sully?
That's for another show. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, thank you for tuning in, listening, interacting with the show. It's a pleasure to be back. And inshallah, we'll be back again next week, same time, Sunday, 3 p.m. Join us then. Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah.